anybody see a way out?
No, not me.
Well, we can't stay in here.
Elsa's in real trouble now.
Yeah. Larxene promised not to hurt her, but I trust those guys as far as I can throw them.
They gotta be up to no good.
Clearly.
Stop looking.
Yeah, we'll freeze if we don't find a way out.
Oh no! We gotta go! Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and as I demonstrated right there, we can pretty much cast fire magic at the tip of our fingers, so just, I don't know, cut down some of that wood, you know, get a fire going, that'll keep you warm. In any case, so, to kind of go on to a bit of it from the last part, yeah, Larxene apparently has magnetism powers, but that doesn't really work on ice, because it's water? That electricity, water, brain... Yeah. This does kind of go into a bit of a thing I was thinking about not too long ago. Again, still haven't seen the Frozen movie, and nor do I ever want to, but, was Elsa meant to be kind of evil? Because I get the impression that given her ice manipulation powers, you know, the fact that she constructed the wall of ice to begin with to prevent Sora, Donald, and Goofy from interfering with the plot, was this meant to be her doing initially, but Daddy Disney said no because they want Elsa to be a cuddly... I was gonna say Disney princess, but no, she's a queen! So, yeah, I don't know if there was some fuckery going on, but either way, Larxene should not be able to do that. I mean, Vexen, yes, because ice is pretty much this shindig, but not Larxene. But in any case, so, this is, my favorite deputy, the Keyblade you get from Woody and Buzz, and, again, it's not a bad Keyblade. I mean, its shot lock, as you saw just before there, is pretty good. My only real problem is that, given the rather wide springs, yeah, the fact that it doesn't really sort of hit until it hits the ground in its second transformation, yeah, it does make it a bit of a pain in the ass to sort of, you know, take a bit of pip damage, really. Yeah, that, it might just be me, but compared to a lot of other Keyblades, it's, the time in which you have it transformed is also very, very short compared to something else, or maybe I'm just killing the enemies too fast. But yeah, either way, this is one of the Keyblades that does also contain a secondary transformation. Again, you'll pretty much get, you know, Hyper Hammers, what you saw before with, you know, the cactus spreading off into a rocket booster, and then you'll eventually get, the Hyper Claws, which pretty much turn into a little claw-based weapon that's, well, it's actually similar to the ability you get from this world's Keyblade, so, yeah. They do reuse a few variants in terms of, styles for, you know, what Keyblades you switch to, but, it's not egregious, and they do have their own aesthetic flair, so... You know, there is that if you want to use them, but again, I mean, if it is to come back in Kingdom Hearts 4, I would like to see maybe a little bit more variety in what Keyblade transformations you get in terms of actual attacks. But I mean, then again, if you've got a style that works gameplay-wise, then, you know, don't fix what isn't broken, I guess. But yeah, in terms of anything else, Larxene being back. Yeah, in a similar vein to everything else, though. Yeah, I mean, Larxene is obviously, you know, very, you know, sarcastic, wry, and a bit cynical, but, yeah, needless to say, she's, very much in the same boat as Marluxia in this case. Again, Xehanort doesn't give a shit about her, just so long as she shows up to fight the Guardians of Light, and, yeah, despite her rather heartless, heartless appearance as a nobody. What a series of contradictions. Yeah, Larxene does have a bit of a caring side, it's just that it only really extends towards Marluxia because, well, as I mentioned in Chain of Memories, yeah, she knew Marluxia in the old life, so they were basically friends, they used to be Keyblade wielders, and, well, yes indeedy, yeah, seems a bit of her cynicism is mainly towards Marluxia's sister Strelitzia. Of which, you know, Larxene and Marluxia's human forms, Laurium and Elrena, retrospectively, were pretty much looking for, and I suspect was part of the reason why they were brought into the organization to begin with. You know, namely to do with a lot of Union Cross stuff, as will be implicated a bit later on, but, yeah. Needless to say, it's, yeah, seeing them back is going to be quite interesting. And does imply that they're going to be playing a role in the future, which is quite good, because, genuinely speaking, I do quite like, Larxene as a character. Again, she is fucking a magnificent bitch. Like, she completely revels in her heartless sadism, so much so that the manga of Kingdom Hearts 2 even had her reading, Marc du Sade, which was, well, a book for sadists, and, yeah, you certainly wouldn't be seeing it anywhere else, but, yeah. By the way, that was the final attack for the claw blade thing from a favorite deputy Keyblade. But yeah, needless to say, I like Larxene as a villain. Very much a counter towards the whole, oh, Tetsuya Nomura can't write women. It's not that he can't write women, it's more that he's just not interested in writing the main female protagonist who's meant to be starring in these adventures, but as of right now has been shuffled off to the side, and even in her own game has been shuffled into non-existence, really. God, poor Khimari. I mean, if it was any other character, I feel like Nomura would have given at least half a shit about writing her, but, you know, I mean, especially considering that Namine, Shion, and, well, I mean, hell, even Larxene herself, technically speaking, got their own little retrospective arcs. Aqua especially got it, you know, served rather nicely, but, yeah. It seems poor old Khimari gets the shaft, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah. But I mean, either way, back to the salient point, Larxene, definitely one of my favourite organization members, and, yeah, don't worry, she's getting a lot of love and a lot of great scenes as she tries to tease Sora, and, usually ends up succeeding. But yeah, and what we're doing right here, right now, is basically finding our way out of the Labyrinth. This doesn't have any real tie towards the plot of Frozen, or anything to do with the organization anyway, it's basically just a matter of Larxene showed up just to say, oh no, Daddy Disney said you can't interfere with the plot, so here's what would otherwise be a rather interesting Final Fantasy dungeon, just sort of stacked on top of everything else. Again, I don't particularly mind this little Labyrinth section, it's just narratively a bit pointless, both in terms of the overall Kingdom Hearts plot, and in turn, it's also a bit pointless in terms of enriching the narrative of Frozen, so yeah, I mean, it's not bad in terms of design. I mean, to be honest, it actually kind of reminds me of a 3D variant of the final area you get to explore in Final Fantasy II, actually, where you're kind of going your way through, well, I mean, let's just call it what it is, basically going your way through the equivalent of Hell, just in order to face off against the Emperor who's, you know, been demonized up with a lot of fuckload of evil energy. And, you know, you're facing off against all those old bosses that you've otherwise killed. And, it is also kind of making me pine for a bit of a Final Fantasy II playthrough at this stage. Which, I mean, I would be tempted to do, because I actually quite like Final Fantasy II a fair bit. It's, I mean, I'd say, like, next to Final Fantasy 5 and 8, it is probably one of my top 3 Final Fantasy games. Goofy Bombardier! But yeah, all that aside though, we also get to face off against some new nobodies. In this case, we get to see Larxene's nobodies that we didn't get to see after she died in Chain of Memories. Yeah, the Shinobi nobodies. Rather powerful foes, and yeah, they're quite cool enemies to take on, so yeah. The Larxene train keeps on giving, baby. Killing the Heartless and defeating the nobodies. Christopher Lee would be proud. Thank you, Donald. Well, I mean, then again, well, you know, I was gonna be a snarky bitch and make a jokey joke, but no, I mean, it did rise out of the ground, so he has perfect grounds to, you know, suspect that.
Exploding!
Hey, look! We can get through now!
I guess this, I mean, to kind of go into further talking points, I guess this did give the development team another chance to sort of harken back to the similar puzzles they included with the, you know, the Aqua Prologue segment. Not necessarily in the same way as what you've seen in the Realm of Darkness, but at least have like a few challenges. You know, I mean, if we can't interact with the Frozen movie, we can at least do something with its ice temples and gimmicks, I suppose? Yeah, but I don't know, like, I mean, again, my biggest problem with the world, and Frozen in general, really, is that, again, haven't seen the movie, so I don't really know, but I also don't really feel the need to see it, is that, and again, a bit of a problem slash, you know, praise I can give to Kingdom Hearts is that, again, like, as an outsider looking in, somebody who otherwise wouldn't be interested in it, as Sora exploring through the worlds, depending on how he interacts with the characters and how the characters interact with him, it can potentially make these worlds draws for people to see the movie, and vice versa, you know, people who love the movie to play the Kingdom Hearts series and get invested that way. You know, a bit of a two-way exchange of, you know, enjoyment, really. And again, that did kind of happen, because, I mean, again, I'd never seen Hercules during my childhood, but you know what, I loved Kingdom Hearts, I enjoyed the world in those segments in Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3, And, you know, after doing the commentaries, Squaddle Up, I saw Hercules, I enjoyed the film. It was pretty good that way. And I mean, yeah, I mean, even with the likes of Tangled, I wouldn't mind, you know, seeing that film because, you know, I liked Flynn, I liked Rapunzel. You know, everything was pretty good with how they interacted with the Sora, so again, I would be pretty chuffed to see the movie, but Frozen, on the other hand, just gives you nothing to work with. And not just because we're not really interacting with the characters, we do get to interact with them a little bit, but never in any meaningful way. It's really just sort of periphery bullshit or, you know, toss-pop minigames that just don't really mean anything, and quite frankly, I don't know, it just makes the world feel incredibly hollow, so it does also kind of make me wonder whether or not the development team really had any sort of enthusiasm for Kingdom Hearts, or just saw it as like a bit of a contractual obligation, in the sense that, okay, we have to include it in this Disney anime project kind of thing, who gives a shit? It's covering the events of the movie? Oh no, we can't have them do that, they have to watch the movie, I guess. I don't really know, like, I mean, a lot of other, you know, projects like from a Big Hero, well, we spoiled a word there, let's say Big Harem sucks, and, you know, the Toy Story world specifically, you know, they did give them a chance to sort of play around a little bit, but, yeah, this world not so much. I don't know, it just leaves me a little bit, just kind of dry and really with, not a lot to really enjoy the world with. Kerblamo! Kerblamo! Yeah, that little lightning explosion attack, which is basically their little invincible state of no, you can't hit me, yeah, it's pretty much just sort of there to protect them for a little bit. Kind of similar in vein to Marluxia's Nobodies, where they just sort of like phase in and out of existence, before you could then finally, you know, attack them and utilize them a bit. Oh yes, let's celebrate fireworks in the icy cavern. Oh dearie me. Yeah, so now we have pretty much a game of Ring Around the Rosie, pocket full of posies, a tissue, Black Plague metaphor. But, yeah, pretty much rotate the section around, and then you pretty much get your way to a treasure chest. So again, the Labyrinth isn't bad, again, like, I mean, I kind of brought up the Final Fantasy example beforehand. It would have seemed like a pretty cool puzzle to, I don't know, make your way up towards, like, I don't know, an Ice King or something, or like an Ice Titan or whatever, but no, it's just there as a means of padding out for time, and bear in mind, like, I mean, we've barely made our way up the mountain towards, you know, where Elsa's running away from, so don't you worry, we've got plenty of commute, which brings us to yet the other big major problem of this world. Yes, I said big and major. I wasn't being redundant, it is such a big problem that I thought it was worth using another adjective to describe how major this bigly problem is. Oh god, the commute. Again, it's a long way up that mountain, and wouldn't you believe we'll be climbing that mountain several times. Yes indeedy, Sora's gonna have Arnold Schwarzenegger legs of steel. By the time he gets up there, he'll be like John Voight in the movie Anaconda, where he'll be able to snap Xehanort's neck with his legs! He knows how to use them! See, this world is so painful that even singing ZZ Top causes me pain. Eventually it's gonna make me start talking like Xehanort, boy. This'll just be my natural speaking voice from now on for the rest of the commentary. Well, I mean, then again I say that, but some of that lung damage was probably from smoking during my teenage years, which, I mean, I will say this, just to go off on the already off-topic topic, yeah, I mean, just because you've quit cigarettes doesn't mean that you don't crave them every now and again, and, yeah, I mean, I haven't smoked since, well, I haven't smoked since my teenage years, well, again, if you don't count that one-off joke I did in the Silent Hill Origins review where I, you know, smoked a cigarette, you know, because Travis went into a burning building, inhaling smoke. Hello, was this thing on? But yeah, either way, sore throats and soggy noses make for the best of Bastion friends. Oh dear, more Heartless to fight. I don't know why I'm in the Final Fantasy mood all of a sudden. I don't even know why I was singing 6. I find 6 to be slightly over... I better not say that. A lot of people love Final Fantasy 6. But, yeah, either way. Pretty sick battle theme. And that's all I'm gonna say for now. After this Final Fantasy VI, the battle theme and what's going on right now is just serviceable. Well, I suppose with bugger all left to talk about, there is another Final Fantasy character, you know, to go back to the game of what Final Fantasy character would fit in this world. And, the Final Fantasy character who's a pick of my choice to fit in the Frozen world, Khimari the Ronso from Final Fantasy X. Now, you might be wondering why or how exactly it would even fit into the world, but, you know, given that Elsa was ostracized for her ice powers, I suppose. Yeah, I remember in Final Fantasy X where Khimari's whole deal was that, you know, he was a Ronso warrior, he had his horn broken off, and, yeah, he was pretty much ostracized from his tribe, and, you know, also accompanying, well, a similar Lamb to the Slaughter summoner Yuna as basically one of her big guardians. So yeah, instead of having Snowball Fucker, as potentially somebody we'll be seeing in a bit, Khimari would have been a cool inclusion to this world, and, you know, for a bit of Final Fantasy rep, but also having something that does make a little bit more sense, Khimari. I think it would have been really cool, and also giving us an excuse to have like a really sick-as-hell Dragoon team-up attack, because that was pretty much the job class that Khimari was fulfilling in that game. Yeah, I don't know, I feel like Khimari would have fit with just a few slight alterations. I mean, I guess he technically could have had him like be Elsa's guardian, for lack of a better phrase, protecting her, or I guess protecting other people from her ice powers, I guess, if you wanted to recontextualize him into the Frozen Land. I don't know, that's the one character that I feel would really sort of work here. Because, I mean, I was trying to think about some other characters, Yeah, Khimari's really the only person I've got. But again, as per usual, if any other Final Fantasy fans have any characters that I think would fit quite well into Frozen Land, then, you know, feel free to leave me your thoughts. Message on a postcard. Goofy Bombardier destroying the ninjas with his grenades of Bombardier. Kerblamo! We outfucked them! The pillar has risen. And that very much becomes our lift out of here, but don't you worry, we've still got plenty of, time-wasting shit to go. Well, I mean, a bit of it is because I'm just sort of faffing about, just trying to get everything I possibly can so I don't have to revisit this world more than I already have to, you know, for the sake of Orichalcum Plus. Potential mini-games just to pad out the end, and, oh, the pain.
Well, that seemed to lock everything into place.
Yeah, you said it, Donald. But anyway, we are pretty much at the home stretch in terms of getting out of this labyrinth. Really, the only thing I'm doing here is just sort of faffing about to get any excess items, which, yeah, my fault technically, but then, you know, me recording the game didn't think about me having to record audio commentary for it, so really, past Skully and present Skully are at odds with each other. Ugh. If ever that wasn't the truth. Old Skully is old. A little bit more world-weary and crazy. Whereas past Skully was young and optimistic and trusted too easily and very happy to play and make new friends. Very much like Sora, actually, which, you know, Basically, Solidus-Skully is what Sora would end up becoming if he made very shitty friends in his childhood, and basically became a bit of a gothy, hermited loner in his teenage years. Basically, this is just me saying that I should have had a Riku in my childhood. You know, a tough guy that I aspired to be like, you know, very good friends. Maybe could have eventually progressed into a gay romance, crashing out on the sofa. Whatever. It's all but in the dreams and fevered rantings of myself. And my craziness. Yeah, I'm basically just here to try and get the lucky emblem, which I didn't see where it was until I did just there. So yeah, that's part of the reason why time is being padded out, so I can get the lucky emblem and fulfill the hidden Mickey quota. Stop destroying the ice. There is no point. By the way, incidentally though, like, I mean, if you... I had a point that I was going to say, but then I forgot immediately what I was going to say. Son of a bitch, I hate it when that happens. And it's happening to me more often as I get older. I don't know if I'm starting to have some memory issues or whatever. Oh god, I'm turning into my dad and grandfather, because they pretty much had it as well, and now it's happening to me. Well, I mean, again, I guess it was bound to happen sooner or later. I mean, to kind of go on to already off-topic topics, yeah, I was, recently cutting my hair recently, and, yeah, I discovered a grey hair. So, yeah, that's, that's kind of alarming. So, yeah, I'm starting to go grey already, which, that frightens me. Which is kind of weird. I mean, I don't recall anyone, maybe on my mother's side of the family, might have started going grey early, I'm not too sure. Either way, it's, I'll deal with that in my own time as I start to go grey, or maybe I'm just being possessed by Xehanort Boy! But yeah, any last passing remarks? Yeah, as we finally get to use the claw attachment, yeah, again, the claw attachment is much more useful than the hyper hammer, but mainly because, again, it's a lot quicker on the draw, but, yeah, you just really gotta kind of build up to a quick smart, or make sure that you get 3 tiers of the, you know, your Keyblade beat-up-ometer built up, and then you can finally just sort of utilize that to, you know, switch between Keyblades and, you know, get the appropriate upgrades where you feel necessary. I mean, not exactly ideal, but, you know, it is a decent system if you know how to work it. It just involves getting past the Hyper Hammer, which just sort of leaves you a bit prone, being a heavier weapon as opposed to, you know, something that's light and swift, or something that you can just sort of block effectively. But then again, you will be getting, you know, further counters, reprisals, and, you know, all that sort of thing, if you adapt to blocking much later in the game, so, yeah. Kingdom Hearts 3, especially in terms of combat, does kind of account for your playstyle if it's very unique. It's just a matter of, you know, being good at what you do and knowing how you want to play ahead of time. But in any case, though, we're finally free. And yeah, this also pretty much leads you right back to the beginning, but yeah, that's all I wanted to show off, just to show that you can pretty much go through this place again if you so choose, but quite frankly, fuck that. So, Sora, go back the way you came, go up that lift, and we can finally get out of here. I can give my throat a bit of a break while I go off to get a delicious meal. So, while I go grab some dinner, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.